Hello friends, my name is Tanvi. So today we are going to discuss about the subject chemistry and the topic is sorting materials into groups. So the last class, which is sorting materials into groups part 1 video, we have discussed about the materials based on their texture and the materials based on their solubility. So here today we are going to discuss the materials based on their transparency and the materials based on water. So materials based on their transparency, we have three types: transparent, translucent and opaque. Transparent is the object in which all the light can pass through. Example, glass. If you take a piece of glass and see, you can see through it. If you keep it here, you can see through it. That is because all the light can pass through it. That is called transparent. Now second type, which is translucent. Example is butter paper. Translucent is the objects in which partial light can pass through. We cannot see clearly through it. Like for transparent, we can see clearly through it because all light can pass through. But for translucent, only partial light can pass. Like butter paper. Example, butter paper. If you take butter paper and see, you cannot see clearly through it. So, in which only partial light can pass through, which is translucent. The third type is opaque. Opaque are the materials the objects which we cannot see through it. We cannot at all see through it. Like for transparent, we can see through it because all the light passes. For translucent, only partial light can pass. For opaque, no light can pass at all. So we cannot see through it. Like for example, a cardboard piece. If you keep a cardboard piece like this, you cannot see through it. Okay, you cannot see through it. So example is cardboard. Now we have seen the three types. The materials based on their transparency, three types, which is transparent, translucent and opaque. The next, the materials based on water. We have two types: sink and float. The materials which sink in water. Just if you take a glass of water and just, for example, we have stone. If you put a stone, it will sink in water. It will settle down. That is sink. Example is stone. So next one is float. Float. In water, if you put a piece of wood, it will float in water. It will float on the surface of the water. So that is sink and float. Now that was for today's class. We will have a quick recap of it. Now materials are, last class we have discussed about materials based on texture and solubility. Here we are going to discuss about the materials based on the transparency and water. Transparency, we have three types: transparent, translucent and opaque. In transparent objects, all light can pass through it, so we can see through it clearly. Example is glass. Next, translucent. Translucent are the objects which partial light can pass through it. Okay. Example is butter paper. Next, the third type, which is opaque. The objects in which no light can pass through it. We cannot see through it. Those are opaque, in which no light can pass through it. Example, cardboard. Next, the materials based on water. We have sink and float. The materials which sink in water are sink. Okay, example stone. Float is the materials, if you like example wood, if you put a piece of wood in water, it will float in water. Okay, now that was for today's class. Now, thank you.